AEW All In is this weekend. This is my predictions. Going to give you my excitement level for each matchup. Tell you which one I'm looking most forward to. Tell you how I book it. How I think AEW is going to book it. And who shows up as a surprise. Multiple surprises, perhaps. Man, there are a lot of names floating out there right now. And we are going to get into that here on our All In predictions. Let's start right at the top with your AEW championship on the line. Bryan Danielson's career on the line. Title versus career. Swerve and BD. Now, is this the right main event at all? Because man, oh man, I make an argument that Will Ospreay should have won the championship, and MJF and Will Ospreay should be for the championship and not the secondary title in the AEW American Championship. That, after that segment on Dynamite, feels more to me like it should be the main event rather than Swerve and Bryan Danielson. But I would think title versus career for the AEW World Championship will be absolutely 1,000% the main event. And I think it could end up being a very good main event. It's not the match I'm most excited for, though. But I would say my excitement level for it right now is at about an 8. I was never a big fan of the Yes Movement. I respected the Yes Movement. I respect everything that Bryan Danielson has done. He's just not always been one of my favorites. Swerve Strickland, I was there when he won the championship at Dynasty in St. Louis. It was a great moment over Samoa Joe. Pretty fantastic stuff. I don't think his title reign has been spectacular, but it hasn't been bad either. It's been maybe around the B- range. And so with those things said, my excitement level for this one is at about, I would say maybe about a 7.5. I think the fact, that this could be Bryan Danielson's last match is very intriguing. And I think this is to me at least in my mind, this is kind of a toss-up. Be very interesting to see if Swerve retains. Maybe Adam Page wins the gauntlet. They have a rivalry, or maybe Bryan Danielson wins this thing. Maybe Hangman Page costs Swerve Strickland, comes out, costs them the title. I mean, that would be a heel thing to kind of do, to let the baby face win, but then it would renew Swerve and Hangman's rivalry. Do we want a Swerve and Hangman 4? Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. This is a tough call, and since it's a tough call, that does get my excitement level up a little bit. But as far as who I think's going to win this thing, yeah, it's a tough one. But I think with it being the main event, to me, when I see in my mind at the end of this show, Swerve Strickland still holding that championship, I just don't see it, man. Even if Will Ospreay beats MJF, and that's a really, really, really big moment for the crowd, I still think at the end of this thing, in my head, I'm seeing Bryan Danielson raise that AEW World Championship, and we get the yes chance at the end of this thing. That's what I see. I just think it would kind of be, cool, Swerve retained. And as far as his title reign, like I said, it's not been an A title reign. He's had it long enough since Dynasty, especially if Hangman cost him. Then he's going to have plenty of stuff to do. He's going to remain relevant. Just the thought of him ever being an AEW champion at any point, I was kind of shocked when they gave it to him. I was kind of shocked whenever Joe won it. I mean, to me, I don't know. There's more deserving people on this roster to help elevate that AEW World Championship. And I think Swerve's had it long enough. I know Bryan Danielson's on a handshake deal right now, but he was talking about retiring fully from a full schedule, rather, I should say, whenever he had that promo several months ago saying that this year would be his last year. I believe it was this year. Yeah, it's John Cena that's doing 2025. But yeah, Bryan Danielson talked about, wanting to not do it all the time. Maybe he didn't even say this year, but he said after this year. I believe that's what it was. He said after this year that he wasn't going to be doing it full time. So they've still got part of this year going on. And we still got perhaps into next year where he could have one more run as the champion, and then that's it. And I can see that happening. But with the fact he doesn't have a contract and he is on a handshake deal, maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. And I could see it going either way, but in my mind, I see at the end of this thing, I see Bryan Danielson holding that championship up, and the show ends with one of the biggest yes chants that we've seen since the whole yes movement began and was at the height of its popularity. So I'm going Bryan Danielson. And if Hangman Page doesn't win the gauntlet, then I think that would be even more of an indication that Bryan Danielson is going to win. You know what? I would have Hangman Page come out and screw over Swerve Strickland. We've heard him say he's not done with him. What a better way to cost him that championship, because that gives legs to their renewing their rivalry. I mean, right now, other than the fact that he hates him, they hate each other, but there's nothing new added to it. Well, you're going to hate each other even more. We got a very new wrinkle in if he costs Swerve. So that's how I'd book it. Bryan Danielson, maybe you do it where enough time goes by. You have him come out there and you have Swerve being down, and then you have a little more wrestling, and then Bryan Danielson ends up taking it. That's how I'm booking it. Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker for the AEW TBS Championship. And I'm just going in order of what I'm on SI.com, going over what they have for the matches. So hopefully they got them all right. I remember, I don't know what source it was I was doing for the last pay-per-view, and they had somebody in there that wasn't even actually in the match. What are we doing here? Mercedes Moné, Britt Baker for the AEW TBS Championship. Whew. This is another tough one, man. I love it. For the fact that I'm going to go down this list, and a lot of these are really tough calls and are not clear-cut to me on who's going to win. And this is another fine example of it. And I haven't really thought about who I think is going to win until this very moment. So we're going to work through it here. We'll work through my thoughts, lay out some different scenarios. It would make sense if Britt Baker won it, but I think we're already going to see a lot of baby faces winning this thing. The only thing here is this is the secondary championship. Does Mercedes Moné belong in the secondary championship tier? I don't think so, man. She should be going after that AEW championship. So, if Toni Storm's the face, if they really, really want Mercedes Moné to be a heel, then you have Moné lose and Storm win, and then them two can battle. But you know how AEW does it. A lot of times it doesn't matter who's the heel, who's the face. Sometimes we don't even know. Mercedes Moné's kind of been in that category. I think now she's being presented more as a heel. If it's me, I'm booking it that Britt Baker wins this thing. That way she has something to be relevant about. And then I'm having Mercedes Moné go after the World Championship. Toni Storm retains. That's how I book it. However, my official prediction is that Mercedes Moné retains this championship. And man, whenever Britt Baker first came back, popped me really, really hard. I'm talking about my excitement level for this match. Popped me really hard. You get the DMD and the CEO chants. That all lines up. I thought they had a fantastic in-ring the other night. Told me a really good story about Britt was talking about how Mercedes is changed and everything. She doesn't care about the fans and everything. Some of it was, you could say, kind of cookie cutter, but I thought it worked. And it worked very, very well on what they were saying. Britt was talking about, she helped build this thing. Yeah, you did all that for the women's division. And yeah, I was a girl looking up to you and everything that you did, but you changed. You only care about the money. And you know what? But you didn't build this place. I built this place. This is my block. I run this block. And that was all very good stuff. I think the previous 2 weeks, or I guess it was 1 week on Dynamite and then Collision, some of the stuff they did there with Britt getting her in the mandible claw. I think she calls it something else, I forget. Getting her in the mandible claw with the glove, and then having Camille pull her out of the ring. Like, that was okay. And then what they did on Collision was a little bit better, with Camille actually getting physically involved and looking like the brick house, looking like a dominant badass, and, help build her up in this whole process as well. And they've done a decent job of that so far. But I think that could be a key factor in this match, is Camille does help Mercedes Moné retain it. And I was going back and forth on what I'm more excited about, this women's championship match or the AEW championship match with Mariah May and Toni Storm. And man, I'm about tied. So this is going to be my excitement level for the other match as well. And I've been pretty darn excited. I'm going to say, man, I really, it's tough to be higher than Swerve Strickland and Bryan Danielson. But I'm at least an 8 here. I'm at an 8. You know what? I'm going to tie. I'm taking a cop out here probably. But I'm going to tie Swerve Strickland, Bryan Danielson. I would say my excitement level for that, I'm going to say 8. My excitement level for Moné and Britt Baker is at an 8 as well. I'd book Britt to win it, but I think Mercedes will retain. Moving on into the match that I am most excited to see, especially after the words that were exchanged on the Go Home Dynamite before AEW's biggest pay-per-view of the year, MJF versus Will Ospreay for the AEW American Championship. What a war of words the other night, and what a storyline with whether or not Will Ospreay will use the Tiger Driver 91 to try to beat MJF. MJF says that's the only way you got a chance at beating me. Will Ospreay has been so hesitant to use that move, but I don't think he's going to be hesitant after what MJF did to him on Dynamite, leaving him laying with blood on his face. And then you saw Bryan Danielson come up to Will Ospreay and he tells him, use it. Do it, I think is what he said actually. Do it. Meaning do it. Use the Tiger Driver 91. And I think Will Ospreay will use the Tiger Driver 91. I think it'll be the only time he uses it. I don't think he'll use it again. At least not for a long, long time. I think he will use it. And he will be the champion. Now, as far as, there's totally a chance MJF wins this thing and retains it as well, but I think Will Ospreay wins it and changes it back to the International Championship. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I think them renaming it the AEW American Championship was all set up to make sure MJF's heel transformation goes well, is completed to his fullness, where there are no dueling chants, where everybody hates him once again, because they're over there near London, and they will be in London for All In. They were at Wales for Dynamite, but they're in London. So he comes out with the American trunks, the American Championship. They're not going to want to see MJF win that thing. They're going to want to see Will Ospreay win it, change it back to the International Championship. So I think they just created this to get heat on MJF. Because think about this too. If he wins this thing and it's still the AEW American Championship, we got to go back to America. And yes, he's done a very good job of trying to get everybody to go against him. But at the end of the day, he's the American champion. If you're the American champion, you're an American, chances are people they could still cheer for him a little bit. It's quite possible. To me, at worst, it's a disconnect. It's a disconnect for me whenever I see somebody, we're in America almost all the time. We're in America. We see somebody wearing American stuff, holding the American championship, and being booed for it. I know WWE's got United States Championship. Plenty of heels have had that. It's more about the gear. And we've seen him wear just all the suit he had on the other night. So I think Will wins this thing and changes it back to the International Championship. I had a conspiracy going on about maybe they created this championship. They're going to get rid of the TNT Championship if the talks aren't going well with Turner Broadcasting. If somehow they're not going to get another deal, well, they're going to need to rename these championships. Maybe that's why. I doubt it. I think they'll end up staying on TBS, but it's possible. That could be why they created this as well, but I think that's a little bit of a conspiracy theory. I don't think it holds a ton of water, so I'm going to say that Will Ospreay wins it. We get the International Championship, and the American Championship goes away. That's my prediction. My excitement level is at a 9.5. There is an argument to be made that, if they are booking Bryan Danielson to win, to end the show on a high note with the babyface going over, that perhaps MJF comes out of this thing and gets a tremendous amount of heat for beating Will Ospreay near where he's from. That's totally possible, and they could totally have this thing up in the air. Like, I don't know who's going to win here. Has MJF been getting booed enough, or do we need to have him keep this championship? And have the crowd boo him even more and hate him for it. I think he's got booed enough. I think he's done a tremendous job in transforming back into a heel, and I think for the most part, everybody's been rooting against him. So I do see, I think they'll book Will Ospreay to win this thing. Moving on, Toni Storm and Mariah May. Had some side notes about it, but let's get into the full match breakdown now. My excitement level for this one is at an 8 as well. Is Mariah May ready? I've loved her from day one since she stepped into AEW. I was like, she's got an it factor to her. Great booking to put her in there as a protege for Toni Storm. And whenever she made that turn and used that heel and how bloody Toni Storm was, at that point, whenever that happened, at that moment in time, this was the match I was most excited for on the pay-per-view. They've done a good, not great job building after that. I enjoy Mariah May's video package, and her new little short film that she debuted. But it hasn't done enough since that initial moment to stay as the one I'm most excited for. But I'm very intrigued to see what will go down here. Whew, man, oh man. I don't think there's money yet in having Mariah May win this thing. You just start throwing out names. If Mariah May's heel, who would challenge Mariah? Well, maybe Britt Baker. But to me, then I'd have Britt win it, and then Mariah May's title reign would look just like she'd be a transitional champion. I'm going Toni Storm. Toni Storm retains this championship. I know a lot of baby faces. I got a lot of baby faces winning. We got to get some heels in there win at some point to balance out the card. Just got to figure out what makes the most sense in how you go about that. But yeah, I like Toni Storm in this one. Does Marina I'm going to butcher her name here. Marina Shirakawa, something like that. Does she get involved in this match? We saw them asking her about it, and she didn't want to, play any favors or anything. I just don't think they've had her involved in the story enough to have her insert herself into this. I think Mariah May will try to use the shoe at some point. Maybe a ref bump. Maybe Shirakawa does come out there and distracts the ref, and Mariah May tries to use the shoe. That's how I'd book it, actually. I would have a little girl come out there, have her try to get in the middle of it. You know, like we don't know whose side she's on, but she's just coming out, gets up on the apron. Maybe both, I don't know. Maybe both women are down. I guess that wouldn't make a ton of sense, but I don't know. Maybe she comes out there at some point, or we have some kind of ref bump. Ref's not looking. Mariah May goes to use the shoe, backfires on her. Absolutely. Toni Storm then uses the shoe on Mariah May and retains her championship. Book it. And yeah, I think AEW will go with Toni Storm as well. Moving to the triple threat for the AEW World Tag Team Championship, the Young Bucks, FTR, the Acclaimed. I love the Acclaimed, but they're nowhere near as over as they once were. You could argue that putting the tag team titles on them might help them get there. But to me, you already need to be over by the time you win that championship, because that's the reason that you're winning it, because you're that over with the fans. FTR's been relevant, but I don't know, they're Teflon for the most part. You know, I did think it took a big hit and they lost the titles, and they haven't been extremely relevant, but the crowd does love them. This is one of the spots I'm having the heels retain here. Young Bucks haven't had it all that long. If they want to keep the elite looking strong, and I think they do, then I would have the Young Bucks retain the championship. But then you could argue, man, oh man, what are they going to do with the Acclaimed after that? I think they just keep chasing them. They keep chasing them. Young Bucks, it's going to, to be a no disqualification, anything goes with it being a triple threat. I don't know if it's going to be a tornado tag or not. I don't think so. I doubt it with all the matches we're going to see later. The trios is kind of like that with the ladder match. So I hopefully all three teams are represented in the ring at one time, though. I don't want to see just two guys. I hate that. I hate that so much whenever you have a triple threat tag team match, but only two, or a fatal four-way tag team match and only two guys are in the ring at the time. I can't stand that. So hopefully we'll see all three guys in the ring at the same time. And yeah, I would have the Young Bucks retain, and FTR and Acclaim just keep chasing, and hopefully the Acclaim can get over as high as they once were, and get the tag team championships back at some point. My excitement level for it, about a 7. Yeah, 6.5, 7. Moving on, Casino Gauntlet. This is interesting. Winner gets the AEW World Championship match. I threw out a Hangman Page. Getting that, winning that. I don't think he'll win it though if Swerve's gonna lose to Bryan Danielson, which I have officially predicted, and is how I would book it as well. So if not Hangman, then who else? There's been rumors that Ricochet going to make his AEW debut, him winning and getting the title shot right away. I mean, he could get a title shot. Well, boy, man, him and Bryan Danielson would be pretty darn good. I could see that, but I don't think that will happen. Yikes. This is a tough one. When there are rumors of Bobby Lashley. Now, I would absolutely believe that Bobby Lashley could debut, win this gauntlet, and then get a championship match. Bobby Lashley versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW championship. That would be a decent match. I think would be a pretty good draw. Pretty darn good draw. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'll either say Hangman Page, even though that goes against my booking, or Bobby Lashley in the Casino Gauntlet match. Maybe I'll cover my butt here. If I lose some of the ones later, I'm going to say my official prediction is Hangman Page. We got Jack Perry, Darby Allin for the AEW TNT Championship is another one. It's like toss-up. Who knows? Oh, boy. Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. I'm not sure what you keep doing with Darby after he loses. I think Jack Perry could go back into the Elite and be just fine. I'm going to go Darby Allin in this one. I love Darby. I love Sting so much, so I love everything him and Sting did together. So he's kind of got that. I liked him before, but I love him since he had Sting's blessing and everything they did. You know, we've seen him do some of the moves here and there. Paying homage to Sting. I love Darby Allin. I'm going Darby Allin in this one. My excitement level's at... It's probably not as high as the Casino Gauntlet. I don't even think I gave my excitement level for that one. What did I say my excitement level was? You know, I'm going to lower my excitement level for the tag team match to a 6. I'm going to say my Casino Gauntlet excitement level is at a 7. And I'm going to say my Jack Perry Darby Allin excitement level is at a 6.5. Chris Jericho Hook excitement level is at about a 4. I'll say, yeah. Give him a little bit of respect. I'll say 4. Excitement level. Hook gets his thing back. Yeah, Hook gets his thing. Well, does he though? You see the graphic with Chris Jericho and how many days he's had it, and I think we're still kind of in the build of the learning tree faction, but if Hook loses, he can't challenge Chris Jericho again for the title, so who else is going to take it off Chris Jericho? And the only guy that makes sense is Hook. So I'm going to go Hook in that one. Patriarchy, Bang Bang Gang versus House of Black versus TBD, it says on SI. Did we get another? I thought we got another team for that. No? Maybe there was a... mystery tag. Who's the mystery tag team in this thing? I don't know. I haven't seen any rumors, and you know what? I'm not even going to speculate. I'm just going to be surprised whenever whoever it is that's out there for this one. I guess it really can't. I don't know. Prediction-wise, no, I don't see the Bang Bang Gang winning it. House of Black, honestly, probably needs it the most. But the Patriarchy hasn't had it all that long. We haven't had a lot of heels winning so far in the way I've been booking it. I'm going to say the Patriarchy. No. Man, it's tough. I'm going to say House of Black. I'll go House of Black wins this thing. But have they done enough? Have they done enough? And the Patriarchy could still be an awful, evil heel group without the titles. Boy, we'd have a lot of babyface champions if I book it after this. And I think your buddies in the heels and giving the baby faces in the chase. That's old school, so I'm going against myself here. But, yeah, all right. Heck with it. I'll go House of Black. Yep, I see it in my head. I'm going House of Black. Excitement level's at about a 5. 5.5. Because is that the ladder match? Yeah, I think that's the ladder match. Actually, I'll up my excitement level to about a 6.5 at least. Yes. Moving on, Chris Statlander, Stokely Hathaway. I think that might be on the pre-show. Yeah, it's on the pre-show, so I'm not going to get much into that, but definitely go, yeah, I guess Willow and Ishii. Yeah, it's a pre-show. You want to start the crowd off hot, letting the baby faces get a win. See Stokely Hathaway get his butt kicked. I'm going Willow and Tomohiro Ishii. And that is my predictions. How I'd book it, my excitement level for AEW All In this Sunday. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What's your favorite match? What match are you most looking forward to? Like I said, I got MJF and Will Ospreay now. As far as possibly throwing a show stealer, maybe a match you wouldn't think. I think that will end up being the best match just overall. MJF and Will Ospreay, just because Will Ospreay is, in the ring, in my opinion, the best professional wrestler in the world, and MJF is pretty dang good. Show stealer? I'm going to say Mariah May and Toni Storm. I don't know. Are they ready to do that? I don't think it'll be Britain and Mercedes. Oh, there's not really a lot of good selections of possibly show stealers because I think all these matches should be pretty darn good. The AEW World Tag Team Championship probably won't be bad either. You know what? Actually, show steal, I'm going to go Jack Perry, Darby Allin. Be one of the matches you don't expect to be, I mean, you might expect it to be pretty darn good, but I don't know. That's a tough one. It's a really tough one for me. I'll go Jack Perry and Darby Allin for my show stealer. I think that's about it. We've gone 30 minutes here. Appreciate you guys being on here. Definitely excited. Oh, my overall excitement level for All In. Man, I got to tell you, I know it's going to end up being a long night, but I'll actually get to watch this one. It'll be on replay. I got some stuff to do Sunday afternoon, so I'm going to order the replay, but I'll be able to watch it early enough where I won't be falling asleep like these WWE pay-per-views. I have to watch them on replay at 12 o'clock at night. I guess I could wait till the next day, but risk the chance of getting it spoiled for me by doing that. But I really shouldn't throw that into my point here is I'm getting at is, am I more excited? Was I more excited for SummerSlam, or was I more excited for AEW All In? I'm going to go All In, even though SummerSlam's WWE's second biggest pay-per-view. Maybe third if you want to throw in the Royal Rumble. I'll say second, though. But this is AEW's biggest show of the year. I know SummerSlam was in a stadium as well, but I think the crowd will be off the hook. And just from top to bottom, it's not very predictable, man. A lot of these matches go either way. I think I'm a little more excited for All In, if I got to be honest with you. And I love both AEW and WWE. I don't pick favors or try to pick sides. This ain't politics, folks. I don't pick sides in that either. I just stay out of it. Yeah, man. I would say my excitement level is at about 8.5. 8.5, 9. I'm going to say 9 for AEW All In. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. God bless.